Hello, my dear student, third year. This is our online section in our course, Cost Accounting course. And we are going to talk about a new chapter, chapter 3. Or we are going to talk about cost volume profit analysis or CVP analysis. What do we mean by a CVP analysis? An analysis that studies the change in the total revenues, total costs, and total operating income due to the change in the level of output. So there are three main items. We study the change in them due to the change in the level of output, which is they are total revenues, total costs, and operating income. How the use of CVP analysis will help you as a manager. As a manager, CVP analysis will help you in the strategic decision, will help you in long-term planning decision, will help you in pricing decision. Okay, this is the main definition of our CVP analysis. The CVP analysis have six main assumptions. You must understand them clearly in order to implement in our example later. CVP analysis assumption. Number one, a change in revenue and costs are due to the change in the level of units produced and sold. Or we mean that the change in the level of production will change the revenues and the costs. This is a direct relationship. When the level of production change, or when the units produced and sold change, directly the revenues and costs will change. This is number one. Number two, total costs consists of two main types: fixed costs and variable costs only. There is no existence to the mixed cost here. So under CVP analysis, we have two main types of costs, which they are fixed costs and fixed costs. No existence for the mixed costs. Number three, revenue and costs behave and can be graphed as a linear function, straight line. When we are going to make a graph to the revenues and costs behavior and relationship, it will be a linear or a straight line. Number four, selling price, variable cost per unit, and fixed costs are all known and constant. So when we solve any example, the selling price and the variable cost per unit and the total fixed cost are known and constant, doesn't change. Number five, in many cases only a single product will be analyzed. If multiple products are studied, their relative sales proportions are known and constant. If multiple products are studied, the relative sales proportions are known and constant. Number six, and finally, the time value of money is ignored. Time value of money is ignored. This is the six main assumptions for the CVP analysis. We have a basic formula in this analysis. Our basic formula is operating income How we get operating income? Operating income equal total revenues from operation or sales revenue minus cost of goods sold minus operating expenses. Operating income is income from operation. So we have a difference between operating income and net income. Operating income equal total revenues from operations minus cost of goods sold minus operating expenses. But net income equal operating income minus income taxes. Basic CVP equations, and we will learn it here together, and we will implement in exercise later. First equation is total contribution margin. Total contribution margin, what do you mean by the contribution margin? CVP analysis is depend on the terminology contribution margin. What's contribution margin? Contribution margin, I colored here in the yellow, What's contribution margin? It's the amount remaining from sales revenue after variable costs have been deducted. The amount remaining from sales revenue after variable costs have been deducted. So the contribution margin will equal sales revenue minus variable costs. Or we can say that it's the amount available to cover fixed costs. A contribution margin, the amount to cover fixed costs and then provide profit for the period. So the contribution margin equation will be total contribution margin equal total sales revenue minus total variable costs, and contribution margin per unit for 1 unit is equal selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit. Another method to compute the contribution margin, we can say that total contribution margin equal contribution margin per unit multiplied by number of units sold. Or we can compute the contribution margin ratio by dividing contribution margin per unit on selling price. This is the two main methods to compute contribution margin. CVP equation, we can use equation method in the CVP equation method, which includes that revenues minus variable costs minus fixed costs equal operating income, and the contribution margin per unit contribution margin method, where we use symbols here. Revenue equal selling price multiplied by Q units sold minus variable costs multiplied by Q variable costs per unit, variable costs per unit, variable costs here per unit, minus fixed cost equal operating income. We can use this revenue, we can use these equations in order to understand the equation method, in order to understand from where the samples we get the samples from the main equation. Revenue equal selling price multiplied by quantity sold. So we can use this instead of writing selling price multiplied by quantity of units sold. We can use SP multiplied by Q. Variable costs unit اللي هي variable cost per unit multiplied by quantity of units sold, and fixed cost is constant unknown. Contribution margin بيساوي revenue minus variable costs. So operating income will equal contribution margin minus fixed costs. This is the equation method. We can show CVP graphically. Can be illustrated as follow, like this. Like this. This is the total sales revenue line اللي هو vertical is the sales revenue A's, and the horizontal A's is the units sold or quantity, and the bold black line is total sales revenue line, and the bold green line is the total cost line, and the blue line is the variable cost line. Variable cost line, as we take in chapter 2, there is a direct relationship between total variable cost and the total production or total level of activity. So we start the line of variable costs, total variable costs, the blue line, from 0, and it goes up. And fixed costs, if A is fixed, due to the level of activity, and constant due to the change in the level of activity in total, as we know. So fixed cost will have a blue line parallel to the horizontal axis of units sold, so they like equal. The bold point here in middle is called break-even point, and we will mention it later. The point at which total revenues equal total costs. Area above the bold point, the bold black point here, is the profit area, which is demonstrated here by the red arrow, which is located between the total revenue line and the total cost line. This line, this area, and the area under the bold black break-even point is called the loss area, and we demonstrated it here by another red arrow. We call it loss. Between the green line and black, this under the black point. This is graphically show you the CVP analysis. We can show it by another graph like this, and this will concentrate here on the fixed cost. Will show you fixed cost more clearly, the fixed cost and the variable cost, and the line of total revenue and line of total costs, and the area of profit and the area of loss. Another way to compute break-even is a mathematical method. The break-even point is that quantity of output sold at which total revenues equal total costs. So at break-even point, total revenues equal total cost. That is the quantity of output sold with the operating income will be equal zero profit. Do you remember the contribution margin equation, which we use these symbols? CP multiplied by Q minus variable cost multiplied by Q minus fixed cost equal operating income. If we put 0 instead of operating income, this will be break-even point. So at break-even point, total sales revenue equal total costs equal 0 profit. So sales revenue equal total costs, or SR equal fixed costs plus variable costs. Or we can say that sales revenue equal fixed costs plus Q multiplied by variable costs per unit. Or we can say sales revenue equal fixed costs plus quantity sold multiplied by variable cost per unit. So, or we can say that at break-even point, sales revenue minus fixed costs minus variable costs equal 0 operating income. This is the main equations we concentrate here. We can show this equation again to show the break-even point graphically by this figure. This is the line of total revenue, and this is a line of total costs. As we said before, the point of interaction between total revenues and total costs is equal break-even point, and this is the loss area and this is profit area, and this is a fixed cost which is parallel to the horizontal edge is fixed cost, and this is the area of variable cost. This area from the total variable cost line, from total cost line to the horizontal axis of units sold is the total cost, which is a summation of total variable costs plus total fixed costs. And as we said here, as we see here, this is the break-even point graphically. Now we are going to take exercise on this CVP analysis. Can begin by exercise 1. Tom's Tire Tower Incorporation sells tires for $110. The unit variable cost per tire is $85 and fixed cost total $475,000. Required. What is the contribution margin per tire? What's contribution margin per unit? He mean here. Number P. What is the break-even point in tire? Number C. How many tires must be sold to earn pre-tax income of $450,000? D. What is the margin of safety assuming 33,000 tires are sold? Let's solve it. As we see here, he gave us the selling price and give us the variable cost per unit and give us the total fixed cost. So we can compute the contribution margin per unit by our equation. Contribution margin per unit equal selling price minus variable cost per unit. We can say that contribution margin per unit equal $110 minus $85 equal $25. Number B, break-even point in tires in units. We can use our equation. Selling price multiplied by Q minus variable cost per unit multiplied by Q minus fixed cost equal operating income. We need break-even point, so operating income will be 0. So we can say that 110Q minus 85Q minus $475,000 equals 0. So Q will be 19,000 tires. Number C, target sales in tires. target sales in tires? He give us in number 3C the target. How many tires must be sold to earn income, pre-tax income? He gave us the target income for $450,000. He gave it to us, so we can use it to solve the number C. Target sales will be selling price multiplied by Q minus variable cost per unit multiplied by Q minus fixed cost equal operating income. This is a target operating income. Here we can use $450,000 instead, and the target sales entire will be 37,000 tire. Margin of safety equal actual sales minus break-even sales. Margin of safety will be actual sales. Our actual sales, he gave us a number D. What is the margin safety assuming that 33 tires are sold? He gave us the number of tires, and we can define margin of safety by the amount of revenue above the break-even revenue. Amount of revenue above the break-even revenue. After we achieve the break-even revenue, we can, the amount above it is called margin of safety. So margin of safety will be equal actual sales minus break-even sales. We can say that margin of safety will be equal target sales minus break-even point quantity, which is the $110 multiplied by 33,000 tire minus 110 multiplied by 19,000 tire equal $1,440,000. This is margin of safety. Thank you for listening.